Well, well, well. Here we are once again. Now, you've probably seen from especially the past couple of days Trump supporters struggling to come to with the reality that Trump lost. They've had 4 years of essentially saying, you know, haha, we won, and now those chickens that are oh so cleverly laid those eggs themselves years ago are finally hatching and coming home to roost in droves. And we've seen such wonderful scenes. But it's not just in America. Because, as we've said numerous times on this channel before, one of the key stones, one of the key, like, foundation stones of Brexit was this idea that the Brexiteers were going to go, after we'd left the European Union, that we were going to go to the US and we were going to get this absolutely fantastic, amazing, all bells, singing and whistles, dancing trade deal with the US. And we've said multiple times on this channel, look, the US, in terms of trade, has just so much more flexibility, leverage. It is the largest trading partner. It will absolutely, completely just body slam the UK into essentially whatever it wants. It will just fold the UK up into a nice little bow and that'll be it. And here's the thing, when you sign a trade deal, it can be a lot harder to get out of it or to change things when you've signed it. So one of the things we said was that this was going to be a massive way that the Tories could just go in and just backdoor privatise everything. Such as, NHS, food, health, social care, you name it. They could just go in, doesn't matter about the regulations, we've got this US trade deal. US trade deal overrides it, whoops, sorry. And that definitely seemed to be the plan, because they were also hoping, with fingers crossed, that, Trump would be the one to throw them the lifeline, to try and prove that Brexit was a success, which is why the trade deal was such vaunted a thing that they wanted. But you look at it, it only adds 0.2% to our GDP, which is nothing. Nothing when you're talking about what we lose from the EU, and the Conservative estimate is around 8%. Doesn't really make up for what we lose. However, as we said to begin with, the Brexiteers are now struggling to come to terms with the reality that their special friend isn't going to come to their rescue. So this comes from the Huff Post, and it's Brexiteer Tory warns Joe Biden, our mandate is bigger than yours. Don't think Joe Biden doesn't care about the size of your mandate. Just the reality of it. But apparently you think it does, which is so bizarre. So a backbench Tory MP has told Joe Biden that Brexiteers have a bigger mandate for leaving the EU than he does for his presidency. This matters to Joe Biden. Why? John Redwood wrote an open letter to Biden insisting that the UK will uphold the Good Friday Agreement for peace in Northern Ireland. The issue is threatening to cause friction between Boris Johnson and the US President-elect, who has expressed concerns about the UK government's controversial law-breaking internal market bill and its potential impact on peace in Northern Ireland. Of course, we learned today that had an absolutely decisive defeat once again in the Lords. So the pair have yet to speak since Biden's victory was confirmed on Saturday, and the Democratic figures have criticised Johnson for his past comments about Barack Obama, and we've been over those before. But John Redwood dismissed Biden's concerns that legalisation could not lead to the erection of a border between Northern Ireland and the Republic as a, quote, false EU rumours. Those are not false EU rumours. The internal market bill is designed to essentially try and get rid of the border between the Irish Sea, which was part of the original withdrawal agreement that Theresa May signed and that Boris Johnson and the Conservatives signed up for, and doing so essentially at that moment puts essentially Northern Ireland essentially square as in the customs union and still has to follow EU regulations. Now, of course, they are desperate to try and salvage something, so they've come up with this internal market bill, which essentially breaks international law. There is no other legal way around it. You know, to quote a certain someone, this is breaking the law in a limited and very specific way. It's still breaking the law, even in a limited and specific way. So the ex-minister went on to compare the 52% to 48% Brexit victory in 2016 to Biden's 57 to 50.7 to 47 victory over Donald Trump in the US election last week. Biden gathered more than 45 million votes compared to just the 17.4 million who voted for Brexit. In a letter to Biden, published on his website, Redwood said, "I must stress that the UK does uphold the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland. As we leave the EU, we have no plans to impose a hard border between the UK and the Republic of Ireland, contrary to false EU rumours, except that's what you will have to do if you insist on the details in the internal market bill. It is the EU which seems to be planning new border controls on their side of the border, which you may like to take up with them. They're going to have to do it because of what the UK is doing. They are going to have to react to what you do. Otherwise, as we've said, go back over 4 years now, Northern Ireland would essentially become the world's first state-sanctioned smuggler state. And we went over that 4 years ago at this point, and still, Brexiteers do not understand it. But there you go. He went on to continue to say, the UK's EU referendum gave us a larger percentage mandate for exit than your own convincing win. So you will understand the importance of us to become a truly independent country again on the 1st of January next year. Again, that's just completely ridiculous. Why should Joe Biden care about the Brexit referendum result? It's not his country that it's happening to. But it does damage very, very important US-Irish relations, which at this moment are far, far stronger than the, quote, special relationship. Redwood also claimed that Trump's defeat showed that there was still considerable support for his Republican vision of growth promoted by lower taxes, putting America first when dealing with China, promoting peace in the Middle East, and protecting individual liberties because the loser got more than 70 million votes. Addressing Biden, Redwood went on, "It is a pity that Trump has chosen to query the election outcome without setting out a convincing evidence of voter fraud that he alleges. It makes your task of uniting America much more difficult." Does anyone want to, remind Mr. Redwood about the problems that were very evident in the EU referendum? Never mind. We'll forget about that. So, responding to Redwood's letter, Liberal Democrat Brexit spokesperson Christine Gillard said, "As much as I am sure that the US President-elect Joe Biden will be grateful for all the words of wisdom he will receive in the coming months, unfortunately, this letter from John Redwood is not one of them. Joe Biden has made clear that the internal market bill does not respect the Good Friday Agreement and that it should not be allowed to be a casualty of Brexit. John Redwood would better spend his time sending letters to his own Prime Minister urging the government to accept the challenges set to be passed by the House of Lords later this evening. which will remove the illegal aspects from the legislation. And Best for Britain CEO Naomi Smith said that John Redwood has helpfully highlighted precisely why the new president is concerned about protecting the Good Friday Agreement. It is clear that regardless of the consequences, Redwood doesn't believe anything should interfere with his political nirvana. This includes imposing a hard border on the island of Ireland if the EU doesn't accept all our demands. There is no mandate for that. And if the government does continue to undermine international law, it faces being given the cold shoulder by our friends in the States. And this is what we've said since the beginning. Nothing has changed. It's bizarre. I know, it's bizarre, but here we are. 4 years, almost 5 years on at this point, nothing has changed. You know, we go through the same song and dance again and again and again. Vital, obvious points brought up. Brexiteers come out and say they will not be a problem. We proceed into the negotiation phase. The EU said, this is a problem. What are we going to do about it? The Brexiteers say this isn't a problem, and it turns out, okay, if you're going to insist that's not a problem, then we are going to have to do this because it is a problem. You know, it's problem, confusion, and then surprise. It's almost the typical 3 steps that we see again and again from this government, and they just don't understand it. We've said this from the very beginning. Brexiteers do not understand essentially what they've done, and it's so bizarre for a group of people that have spent 40 years, well, probably more than that, depending what they claim, more than 40 years trying to leave the EU, and yet they know nothing about it. And you'd have thought, for a group of people that have spent that long trying to leave it, they might actually have ideas about how to do it. But as usual, we hear nothing on that front. So with that, thanks for watching. Please do like and share this video, and down below there are links to my Patreon page and one-off donation links should you like to support the channel that way. And thank you very much to the people that do so, and we'll see you all next time.